everyone, Nate the Nerdarchy here from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds, and today I'm joined by
Ryan,
Dave,
and we got a gaming request by Mark Biza.
and just so you guys know, we can't get anything right without Ted.
Yeah.
He's the glue that holds Nerdarchy together.
Slapping each other, hitting each other.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know, he got into gaming at 4th edition, and he's going to 5th. And
I think he said it's his 3-year anniversary.
It's a 3-year anniversary in gaming, in the hobby, I think.
Yes, and he wants to do something special.
Yeah, so he wants to do a crazy, fun thing, special thing, and he's looking at SpellJammer. And SpellJammer, as most of the campaign settings, are not fifthitized yet. And but that doesn't let us stop us. We went D&D in space. So we've done a video on D&D in space, Dave's one shot, and I also have done an article on converting some of the helms that are used for space travel into like a 5th edition mindset. So I mean, I would say let's check those out in the links below is what we'll do for that. And overall though, I would say a lot of the things, I know for Dave it was just like fast and loose with the rules. He had a SpellJammer helm, and that was
there really weren't rules for that. No.
Yeah, like Matt Click from A Fistful of Dice also did a video about running a SpellJammer, and actually that's where I got the inspiration to do it, and it made me want to play that game, run that game. Look, you know, when you pick a setting like that, right, you have to decide why you did it. Did you do it for the mechanics, or did you do it because you like the setting?
Right.
Well, if you like the setting, the mechanics don't matter.
Well,
Stuff
in this
just
edition,
happens.
it's not a super crunchy edition, so a lot of this stuff you can just swing it. Like, does this voyage by a spelljamming ship take? How many days you want to take? 4 or 5? Well, it'll just take 4 or 5 days. You don't have to worry about the airspeed velocity of a laden swallow.
Yeah.
So
if you want your players to be able to actually fly the ship, you decide. Okay, you have to have knowledge arcana and have spell slots. Mm-hmm. And then you can function. And then you can operate the helm.
Or if it's a different kind of helm, you need hit points.
Yeah.
Because you're going to take necrotic damage or something, you know?
Yeah. But you just make up the mechanic, stick with it, throw it out there. You know, decide what you want to be in the game.
Especially, it's only a one shot, so like the focus is on fun. Like, as long as it's a fun game, like you don't even have to worry about maintaining the logic of it if it's just going to be a one shot game.
Well, I would say it depends if you want to make the sacrifice made to journey. If you didn't want to make it like, oh, well, it's a couple bucks to go to Wawa and back, or like to go to the store and back, or go to the movies and back, no big deal. But if it's like hit points and spell slots, well, as long as you have some kind of standard, like, oh, you might just say, hey, you know, Faerun is further than Dark Sun, so you're leaving this area, so you need to go like 10 days, so it's going to take you however many spell slots on the last day. And that's all you got to really worry about unless you're going to fight him in space. So I mean, you can have kind of cool encounters in space in that sense, like you know, what's that called? Like
Astral Dreadnought.
Yeah, I was thinking about Astral Dreadnought,
Yeah.
but it depends on what your space is made out of. Are you just like flying through the ether, or is it actual space like we have actual space? So you're gonna be fighting like orc pirates, or you know, there's a whole bunch of Gith, or is there some kind of, you know, spacefaring tentacly monster that you need to worry about? You know, there's all kinds of, and if you want to make it kind of fun, then I would go with the spacefaring tentacly monsters,
or astral sharks.
Like astral sharks.
Going through.
Like a land shark.
I feel like SpellJammer is actually like the easiest one to convert, because like most of it has to do with the theme.
Yeah.
More than anything, like Dark Sun is a pain in the balls because a huge
there's
part
a lot of mechanics involved in the and a lot of tracking and paperwork because everything is like so attrition based.
Yeah, and you know, a huge part of the world is psionics, which doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Unless you go to, you know, our website and use all of Nate's stuff.
Nate's rules, yeah.
Yeah. But for the most part, you know, that world is really difficult, where, you know, SpellJammer really is about that whimsical fantasy.
Swashbucklery. Make it swashbuckle. Buckle those swashes. So
yeah, you know, if you have access to the 2nd edition stuff, and you could probably Google a lot of it and find it.
There's plenty of stuff online.
Yeah,
there's a wiki that you can use. That's what I used for most of the information when I was converting.
Not only that, too, like Watts has put a lot of their older edition stuff up as PDFs that you can now buy. They totally bonus on the new edition for PDFs, but on the older stuff, you can actually buy a lot of it. So I don't know what it's priced at. I haven't really looked. So you might actually be able to acquire SpellJammer PDF information and use all the fluff. I feel like if you use all the fluff, the mechanics won't matter that much. If you hand wave most of the mechanics, so are your players.
Yeah, they're not gonna matter. And also too, like, because this edition is so rules light, like if those conversions might be a snack to do, you know, like, or like, well, I mean, it's either advantage or disadvantage, or we can, you know, burn resources or whatever, you know, if you feel like you need to have rules.
Yeah, and if it's going to be a like SpellJammer campaign where everybody's on the ship and you're just traveling around, like that's the big deal, then I would say, you know, make everybody a crew member, make them a part of the crew. Don't make them like you could still have a person that's the main helmsman, but maybe someone's like off-duty helmsman or something. But major point is, you know, rather than worry about, oh, well, you don't have the skill or you all have to be sailors, just say, well, okay, SR2 Joker had this thing where he had a gift game, and he said, hey, everybody, you've got an extra skill. It's sensors, navigation, weapons, you know, specialists or whatever. It was a part of the ship that they had specialized training in because they were shipmates. They were part of the ship.
Yeah,
Right?
he just gave them the extra job.
So just give them the extra job. Don't make them use a slot to have sailors or vehicle, spaceship, or anything like that as a skill. Just tack it on top of it.
Yeah, so really, too,
So you don't have to worry about cutting into things.
it depends on how close to the source material you want to be as well. Do you just want that feel? Do you just want to do a fantasy space opera, and so that your mind turns to SpellJammer? Well, that's fine. Like you can draw inspiration from things like Star Trek and Star Wars as well. Like so, you know, suppose you're doing a spelljamming vessel, but you want them to use a transporter to get down to the surface of a world they're visiting. Maybe there's a teleport circle right on the ship that they just step in, and basically they get beamed up and down.
Right, and then you have a guy named Snotty or Scotty,
Right.
that can do the beaming.
And you know the different crew member levels. You know they wear different colored outfits. So
Red-
you
you
might
got the
have
red
some
shirts.
red shirts.
Yeah, red tabards.
And
Red tabards.
You can put Easter eggs in that.
Yeah.
You know, in your game if you want for fun.
You can put the Warforged that call him like. Well, I was trying to think of a play on Data, but let's just call him Data.
Information.
Yeah, information. yeah.
Info.
Info. Yeah.
But yeah, really, like you're like, oh look, the way here's an outfit. Here you each get one of these space outfits for you to go down to the surface of the world. They all happen to be red.
Yeah.
You know, they all look, or you know, maybe it's an Arctic world, and you know they're all orange parkas.
Yeah.
You know, you can have fun and put stuff in your game, and I think your players appreciate it.
Yeah, if you know who's going to be in the game, then you kind of know.
Because he also said he wanted to be kind of like whimsical and silly.
Yeah, so yeah, if you know what all your friends and put inside jokes in it, you know that some of them will get, some of them won't. But you know, like Star Trek, if you guys all watch Star Trek, then obviously put some of that stuff in there. You know, Star Wars, you can have a whiny Luke or something like that in there. You know, insert somebody from a desert planet.
Jar Jar Binks. Just have a
You
Jar
could
Jar on the ship.
could do some really really bad acting.
Yeah. I could do that.
You know, for the original, or they're not the original trilogy, but the prequels. So I don't know. We could go on and on about this, but I don't think there's a whole lot to say. You know, locate as much of the source material as you can if you're looking for the fluff. Trying to gloss over the mechanics, I think, is way better. If you really need to do the conversions, 5e to 2e, way easier than anything we've done.
Yeah, if they're fighting on a ship, you know, like if they ask if there's crates or barrels around, or if like rigging to swing off of, yes, there is.
Yes.
Yeah. So this way they can do all kinds of like sort of like flying, you know, swinging charges and like kicking over barrels of people.
And then there's siege equipment and like the stuff like catapults and ballista. That's stuff to look up. You know.
Yeah, if you want to do ship to ship
if you want to do ship-to-ship battles and you want to say, well, how much damage did the ship take? Well, you know, does it have 200 hit points? I don't know. Like, does 50 damage break through a section of the hull? Probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's wood, or you know, it's spell formed, whatever.
Or as the DM, do you want it to?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Decide. Even if you decide on rules on the fly, like, oh yeah, 25 damage was enough to bust through this section of the hull. All right, well, just make sure that you remember, about 25 damage. Just like if you say, well, if everyone's 3 days away, travel, well, then just write that down. So you have some kind of, if they go back from Favorite to the other place, and you're like, oh yeah, that's like 5 days. And like, didn't you say it was 3? You know, just kind of like for some own consistency. Once you make up something, try and stick with it. So it's like, oh yeah, that's canon. 3 days.
Yeah,
That's
and figure out like, do you want the meat of the adventure to be like is it down on the surface of some planet, or is it going to be on the ship or like some asteroid? Just figure out where they're going and like really build that adventure, and just the other encounters are just going to be fill-in encounters that happen as need be.
Yeah, or is it going to be something like Lex, where all kinds of crazy things happen all the time, and you just have no idea what's going to go on?
Yeah, and another source of inspiration would definitely be Firefly. Like, you know, they'd always have, like, you're only doing a one-shot, but if you were doing a full-fledged campaign, like, shit always broke down on the ship, and like that happened with Star Trek too.
You could literally make your one shot an episode from any of those shows.
Yeah.
And you know, and your player, you know, you just reskin it. Players probably won't even know, or maybe they will figure it out at the end, which would be like a huge like Easter egg in itself.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So with that, let's wrap it up. You know, what do you guys think in the comments below? How would you do SpellJammer? Do you guys have, you know, any insights you would like to give Mark? While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share.
You can check us out over on Facebook.
You can also check us out on Nerdarchy.com.
Until next time, stay nerdy.